So after 10 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting back in 2008 with Iron Man, 18 films later, we are here at Infinity War. Very exciting stuff.
It's kind of unbelievable. I mean, this is a milestone.
It's a long time coming. It's huge. It's a big deal.
It's huge. I mean, we were 11 when Iron Man came out, and now here we are with Infinity War. Let's get cracking. There's a lot to talk about. So Infinity War is directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, who came from directing Arrested Development. I mean, literally that show is, I mean, it's gold.
It's amazing.
But now they're directing Hollywood blockbusters.
The biggest of biggest Hollywood blockbusters. So how's that? Keep your filmmaking dreams alive, kids. This is proof you can make it happen.
So they directed Captain America Winter Soldier as well as Civil War, and then have been brought on to direct Infinity War, the third Avengers film, and the fourth Avengers film, which will be released next year in 2019. You didn't know,
that's a thing.
Now this film stars the greatest ensemble ever. I'm sorry, there's no arguments here. I mean, it just doesn't ever happen to see this many A-list actors in a film. It's unbelievable, and actors of such a high caliber and incredible talent. It's ridiculous and really fucking cool to see. Why? Because this is the penultimate film for Marvel.
Yeah, something like that. It's like the biggest thing they've ever done. They've been working towards this moment for a long time, and that's because the story of this film has been threaded through all of the others up to this stage. So if you're aware of the continuity of the Marvel films, there's these things called Infinity Stones that have appeared in different forms throughout the rest of the films, and in this film we have this ultimate big bad guy named Thanos, who's here to... What was that?
That was me going, Thanos, what up? I'm Thanos. I'm Josh Brolin. I'm
Stop!
Thanos.
This guy is here to harness the power of all of these stones that have been scattered throughout the universe to basically reshape it to the way he sees fit. That is all we will give you from the story because, as you can tell, bad guy rocks up, Avengers have to stop them. The rest of the story should be a surprise for you, so I will keep it at that. This thing is going to be spoiler free. Now the first thing to jump into here is that, yeah, the film delivers. I think at this stage you wouldn't expect that a Marvel film wouldn't deliver to some degree. This is such a kind of a tested thing by this stage that they kind of know what they're doing. You know what you're getting into with a movie like this. It definitely met my expectations. I wasn't like blown away by it, but I do think we do need to be blown away by the achievement, and that's the thing we're going to keep coming back to, because the fact that they pulled this off at all, wow.
Yeah, look, this is a milestone in cinema, not just in the MCU, but like literally in cinema history. Like this has never been done before to this extent, ever. No arguments. Sorry, that's it. Boom, full stop, ending, boom, hello.
There's a lot of film series out there, but none of them have ever had the continuity or the scale of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has pulled off here. And that needs to be completely understood and respected because it is such an absolute gigantic thing to have pulled off, to have all of these films slowly build on each other to the point that basically there's a story through line in all of them that brings us to this point where we have everything that they've built coming together in such a satisfying way. This is a really satisfying movie, and while I do think that some people who haven't kept up with that continuity will be kind of lost, particularly towards the start, it does get explained, and I think by the end you'll be right in it, but it is an absolutely incredible achievement that they even began to pull this off, but the fact they actually kind of stuck the landing this way is truly stunning.
Now I'm going to talk about the thing that I absolutely love the most, and that was my enjoyment. Yes, that's it. See you later. No, seriously though, I mean, walking into this film, I suppressed my expectations.
Yeah,
and
we
I
both
just
had.
Yeah, but more importantly, I think I walked in with this idea of just wanting to enjoy what I'm seeing, enjoying seeing these characters on the big screen, enjoying seeing these characters on the big screen once again, and not only that, but seeing an amalgamation of the MCU, because, I mean, look, I was around about, 11, 12, 13...
We were 12.
12.
We were 12 when it started.
Look, okay, I was 12 when the first Avengers film came... No, I wasn't. I wasn't. You tricked me. See, I was going for it, and you tricked me.
Eddie, let's keep going.
I was around 15 or 16 when the first Avengers film came out, and when I saw Thanos for the first time, I was like, oh my god.
This is a big deal.
This is a big deal, and these films are going to go somewhere one day, and now this is that one day. And so sitting in the cinema, I kept reminding myself, I was like, you know what, Jay? Sit back and enjoy this. Revel in this. Just have fun with it. And I did. I had so much fun along the way. I was feeling so much, whether it be, little moments of absolute laughter or moments of sadness. I just was like, you know what? I'm going to feel these
feelings.
It's
got it all, and definitely, if you're into it, you will feel that. Now that we've kind of got all, like, I guess the hype of it out of the way, because that's definitely something that you're going to feel going into this movie. No matter what, when you walk out, you're going to have that feeling that you've seen something massive. Now, if we start looking into kind of breaking down all the things that make up this movie, the first thing I want to start with is the fact that because of all of that groundwork that has been done before, this is not a movie that has lots of character arcs in the way that other Avengers movies have tried to do, or basically any other superhero movie ever has really done. There's one major arc here, and it is so devoted to the villain Thanos. So I think that's a really, really effective thing, that because we know all of these characters so well from all of the previous films, they just get to do their thing. And yes, some of them have character moments that shine. Thor in particular has one that really resonated. I do think that the focus here on Thanos is incredibly well done, because he's a villain that has a really like hectic plan. But the movie makes you understand and actually makes him emote. It makes him a character and less of a villain, I guess. He's someone who's doing his own thing, and yes, that kind of opposes the interest of decent human beings. But we are able to find a way that it makes sense. So I think the fact that the other characters don't have arcs so much is something to be definitely, I think, commended, because all of that groundwork was there. Let's just make this movie happen. We very much know who all of these people are and how they will act in certain situations. So seeing the combination of certain people in certain scenarios always kind of feels completely appropriate. I do want to draw attention to the fact that Thor once again has been pulled out to the side to be pulled back in, but I do think that that's kind of a thing that while some people may perceive that to be a problem, I know that I was aware of it. There was really no other way they could have handled that. And I think that's something really important to think about across the board, is that when you're working off 18 previous films and working off that continuity, there's certain elements of this movie that just could not have been done in any way. So what the writers have achieved here, I do not think that cannot be understated. It is truly fantastic.
Now, in regards to the actual film itself, it is incredibly impressive how much the Russo brothers have improved since Civil War. I mean, our major issues with Civil War kind of late in the action sequences and the way it was kind of structured and the pacing of it overall.
The colouring,
the editing, the colouring,
was
and
shaky,
a lot of camera shake a lot of the time.
It's all gone.
It's really all out the window here, and we get a really clear and concise film.
I do think the sheer momentum that the film hits the ground running with is going to take some people some time to adjust to. I know I was like, oh, what's happening really fast at the start, but I think within about half an hour, the kind of flow and style of the film will completely make sense. But first of all, this thing is absolutely awash in color. The cinematography is probably the best I have seen from any of these Marvel Cinematic Universe films so far. Just in like terms of the sheer level of texture and detail, there's scenes with so many different lighting sources going on. So the actual control of the cinematography by Trent Opalock, I believe, is really fantastic, as well as there being a lot of really stunning shots. The VFX work here is pretty astounding the whole way through, particularly in the motion capture. Thanos looks completely fantastic, but a lot of the environments here will have a lot of audience members such as us sitting there going, oh wow, that's really pretty. And in a movie that's a war film like this, that's intergalactic, I feel like you should have a lot of moments like that where you're going, wow. The editing here flows really well. There are a lot of fantastic transitions, and so much of that comes down to just the shot choices. There's a lot of a lot of long take sequences here that were particularly impressive, but there's a definite focus on trying to show choreography off, as well as that choreography in relation to scale, as well as possible.
Alan Silvestri does the soundtrack here and does an absolutely superb job. I mean, he works the themes of characters along the way that pop up into the film, and it just allows you to emote that little bit more.
You connect with it, you recognize it.
100%. Of course, we get the Avengers theme that will come into play here, but more importantly, we get a really sort of beautiful Thanos theme as such, or music that's played throughout, and it's used wonderfully. It's incredibly epic, and it's very classical. It almost feels to me as if at times, because of the silence and the way it's used, it feels along the lines of kind of, and I'm going to say it, a Shakespearean tragedy. Yeah. It has that kind of old sort of vibes, and because of the classical feel of the music with these big violins and cellos, it's got that. Just you feel it.
Looking at this movie overall, kind of from that perspective where you're looking down on everything that they've achieved here, it's a kind of hard movie to fault. But what I do want to say in regards to that is that while you're in it, the movie is just like, it's so much fun, I'm getting so much out of it, I'm enjoying it, I'm right in it. Once it ends, there isn't much to walk away from if you're not the type of person who lives in a hype zone all the time, you know what I mean? And we're not people like that. We go and watch a movie, and if it offers a lot of themes and ideas for us to digest, that gives us a lot to work on. But this is just a really good blockbuster. And that's basically, I think, how a lot of people are going to look at it. It's just really good. It's not transcendently amazing, and while the achievement has been noted well and truly, we are stunned by the fact that this film was pulled off. I don't think by the end of the day we're going, wow, that was the best thing ever made. It's just really quite good.
It's a monumental achievement, and you know, like, it's sticking with me. Hopefully in time it still has that sticky quality. Because I really did have such a great time here, and I was emoting the whole way. I was feeling the whole ride, and you know, I got a lot from it. So, I don't know, man. I'm gonna say I think it did surpass my expectations.
As for me, it completely met my expectations. While a couple of big moments I was feeling were gonna happen didn't happen, I'm not disappointed by that in any way. I do feel like the movie ended exactly where I expected it to. So while a couple of moments I definitely really connected to, I wasn't overly surprised by any of the way that this film panned out. But that is in no way disappointing. I don't like to have my expectations met, but I also think it did a completely fine job of all of that. And I do think the ending here is very, very powerful. They have worked for 10 years to be able to make what happens in this film happen. And that is what we're going to keep coming back to, because that is the most impressive part of it. If we are going to give this movie a score, what are you going with?
I'm going to settle on an 8 out of 10 for this one.
So will I. An 8 out of 10 is completely appropriate. That may go up and down in time, but as we were reviewing this film almost directly after seeing it, we have tried to target as much as possible in this short amount of time, and hopefully we have covered an adequate amount for that score to make sense. So those were our spoiler-free thoughts on Avengers Infinity War. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Crave more banter.
If so, subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere.
And don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Breaking Banter.
Oh, and you can also support us on Patreon. That kind of support is absolutely amazing as it keeps this channel going. Thank you so much for watching, guys.